My name is Kayla Keith, and this is Missing Midwest, a true crime podcast telling the stories of those gone missing from right here in the Midwest. Today's episode is about a young couple in love. Lives cut short, a fire in the middle of the night. One person is dead and one is missing. Ex-boyfriends, strange men in town, freshly dug graves. 35 years later, we don't know who killed Rebecca or where Steven is. This is Missing Midwest, and someone knows something. Okay, hello.
What's up?
You excited?
Episode 1, here we go.
I know, I am excited. So this case, I just dove in and just started just Googled for a really long time of missing people in the Midwest. And this is one of the first ones I found. It's actually one of the first ones I researched. I have a whole bunch of cases going at any given time, but this one was really interesting. It really pulled me in. So I'm excited to tell you about it.
I'm excited to hear about it. You've been telling me for weeks. Oh, I can't wait to tell you this, but I want to wait till we start shooting.
I know. I didn't want to tell you anything about it until we were recording so you can get a genuine reaction.
Nothing about this case.
No, you don't. Okay. So are you ready?
Let's go.
I'm going to tell you the story.
All right.
Okay, so this is about Steven Hendricks and Rebecca Harvey, okay?
Okay.
All right, so we're going to start in Washington, Indiana. You know where that is?
No.
No, me neither. It is down southwest Indiana. It's kind of a small town, population. We're in 1988 here. Okay. 1988. We're in 1988. It was 11,500 people.
Okay.
So not too big.
Right.
I don't know if this helps you or not, but they have $3 generals.
That's a scale.
That's a scale in Midwest.
Yeah.
That's a scale I'm going to use.
Okay.
So $3 general. So we're medium-sized.
We're from
here.
Greentown. There's $1 general, so it's 3 times as big.
Exactly.
Population-wise, it works out too.
It does. That's literally the Midwest scale.
Our new
size
scale.
here, so.
Our Midwest scale is how many
$3 generals in Washington, Indiana. That's where we're at. So it's 1988.
Okay.
Steven Hendricks, he was born July 26, 1966. So he was 22 years old when he went missing. He'd be 56 years old today. So he went missing on September 5th, 1988. He is considered missing and endangered. He is not considered deceased. He was a white male, brown hair, hazel eyes, 5'7", so pretty average guy. Like I said, he was living in Washington, and he had actually just moved in his girlfriend with him. They actually got engaged about a week before, and they moved in together. So they're young, they're in love. Rebecca was 18. They were planning a wedding, 22, 18 years old. They were I read lots of comments about how they were really great people. I heard Rebecca was a really sweet girl. They said she was just super kind. Steven, people said he would just do anything for anyone. His boss said he was a really hard worker. His sister, she said he was caring, funny, very protective. He liked to work on cars and ride motorcycles. He really enjoyed his family. And then she actually said that 3 days before the incident happened, she met Rebecca over the phone for the first time, and she said her brother was just so excited to get married. They were truly in love. So yeah, they were doing it. Rebecca had just gotten a job at a local pizza shop. Steven, he worked at a local body shop, Craney's Body Shop, which is still there in Washington today. But he worked there, he worked on cars. Like I said, married, living together. They were working to pay for a wedding, newly engaged couple. And so they were just living together, living life, doing the thing. You know what's stressful? Buying and selling a house. Just over a year ago, we were in the middle of the process, and it was overwhelming. I am so thankful that we had someone like Amber to guide us through the process. She knew what to do and when to do it. You were so concerned about pricing and loans, and I was just concerned with the colors and the layout. Oh, you remember that?
Yes. Amber kept everything in mind, and we are in our dream house because of her. If you are looking to buy or sell in or around the Howard County area, you have to give Amber a call, or you can just give her a text at 765-865-1118.
You can follow her on Facebook at Amber White, Realtor/Broker with Carrie Gruhl & Associates. She posts the latest listings, giveaways, and even helpful home tips.
We are so grateful for Amber and all her help.
So on September 5th, 1988, early morning hours, there was a fire at Steven's house. It was the middle of the night, 3 a.m. He lived on Oak Grove Road, which was just the main road through the center of town, and he lived on the very west end of town. So almost out of town, but still, he was still considered in town, Oak Grove Road. So the neighbors were woken up in the middle of the night by smoke. They smelled smoke, and when they looked outside, the house was completely on fire.
Yikes.
And so they called 911. And they were really concerned because Steven and Rebecca's cars were there. And they knew they knew Steven, they knew that his girlfriend had just moved in, and so they were really concerned. And they told firefighters, like, their cars are here, they might be in there.
Right.
And so firefighters were working. They tried to get the fire out and get in there and see. It was so hot. The fire was burning so hot, it melted the paint and like scorched the paint of the cars in the driveway. And so they were really concerned that people were in there. And so they get the fire out. Nobody came outside while they were fighting the fire. So they're obviously nervous and scared, and they were fearing that, Rebecca and Steven were home. And so once they had the fire under control, they went inside, and they didn't find anything downstairs. But when they went upstairs, unfortunately, they did find Rebecca, and they found her body on her bed. And she had died in the fire. She was actually burned alive in the fire, which is just like,
terrible.
I can't even imagine that. So obviously they're like, where is Steven? Like, you have a woman who's dead and her boyfriend's missing. Like, where is he? And so obviously, I mean, in any true crime case, the husband did it, right? He wasn't a husband yet, but that's just kind of the thing.
It's a stigma.
It is, but it's usually pretty accurate too. But so they're obviously looking for Steven. It actually took the coroner a couple days to identify her because she was that badly burned. And what they found out was that the fire actually started under her bed. Someone had actually. They did rule out, like, fortunately, I guess, if you can say that, she was dead before the fire started. The coroner said that there was no, soot in her lungs. And so she was dead on the bed when the fire started, but somebody had poured gasoline all over the bed and started the fire. So it actually started in her bedroom on the bed. And so they confirmed that it was her, and they confirmed that the fire started there. So they ruled it, it's arson. Somebody did this on purpose. It was not an accident. And so a lot of people said that she was actually tied to the bed. If you read online, there's a lot of rumors that she was tied to the bed. She was not tied down. A Sergeant Brock Warney, he was of the Indiana State Police. He said that was not true. There was no evidence of any ropes or any like ligatures that she was tied to the bed. So that is why they believe as well that she was dead. Because if you weren't tied down, you wouldn't stay there while the house was on fire. So, and her remains did indicate to them that she was lying like motionless on the bed. So she was definitely deceased before the fire started. But regardless, it was obviously not an accident. It was definitely arson. They had the point where the fire had started and the gasoline. But there was no sign of Steven. Like, he's completely gone. Neighbors told the police while they were there that this was his truck. And so his truck wasn't missing. And then investigators, they went through the remains of the fire, and they actually were able to find his shoes, his work boots, his keys, and his wallet. So like all of his stuff is still there in the house, but he's not there. So that means obviously he either walked away or had a ride, right? Like there was no,
or drug out, whatever.
Or drug out, or taken, I guess, yeah. So obviously, suspect number one, Steven.
Sure.
So police, they started questioning everybody. They questioned the friends, the family, the coworkers, and everything they got back, like they were a good couple. They were in love. Nothing really stuck out to them. They were obviously engaged. Like I said, Steven worked at that body shop. Rebecca was a waitress at a local pizza shop. And they said that one of Rebecca's friends even said she had been talking about going back to high school to get her GED and finish her senior year. And then Steven was encouraging her to do it. He thought it was a great idea. He told her to do it. He was supportive of it. Steven's boss said he was one of the best employees that he'd ever had. He said he was super reliable. And actually, the boss he said, Steven owned his own body shop tools. Those were his tools, and they were still at the body shop. Like he didn't take them with him. So they had all those personal belongings at his house, and then also his these thousands of dollars worth of tools.
Like his skill trade, like
like his tools were left at work.
Or even like a livelihood of the future is left there.
He left it. Yeah, and so there's reports too online that he never picked up his last paycheck, but he did. The police were able to confirm that he picked up his paycheck and he did cash it that day. However, they said that was completely normal. It's not like he picked it up and cashed it and had all this cash for like a weird reason. Like he always did that. He picked up his checks and he cashed them.
A lot of people do that, especially back in 1988.
Yeah. So I didn't think that was like super suspect or anything, but he did cash his paycheck. Wasn't unusual. And then they said he spent the afternoon with a friend. His truck had been overheating, and Steven knew how to work on vehicles, so he spent the afternoon with his friend helping him fix his truck. The friend said that they were at Steven's house. Rebecca was not home. She was at work, but everything been fine. He said they talked, nothing seemed off, and he left for the night. And when he left, Rebecca wasn't there, but Steven was fine. So that's that. I mean, that's all the information they have. Like,
that's not a lot
the
of
last known sighting of Steven. And so, you have some people thinking that he did it, which is the most logical thing, really. But then when you actually start thinking about it, if he did do it, he didn't take any of his belongings. He didn't take his tools. He didn't take his car. So that's kind of like, I don't know about that. So, I mean, that's like all the like main information that we have confirmed from the police. Like, the case is still open, and that's all they have. That's what they have to go off of. There's tons of rumors, though. As we know, any small town has rumors, and one of my things that I like to say, or that I believe, is that all these rumors have some truth to them.
Whether it's 1% or 99%.
Yeah, like
something.
They came from somewhere. Some of them were so far-fetched, you don't even talk about them. But I just went through and I talked to a couple people that are from Washington, Indiana. I talked to some people that knew Rebecca, knew Steven. I read some statements from his sister. Obviously, she said absolutely not would he ever hurt Rebecca. He loved her, and that they were just really great people. They didn't have any records, any criminal records. Rebecca didn't. However, Steven did. I will say he did have one. He didn't have a huge criminal record by any means, but 5 months before this happened, Steven was arrested in like the next town over on a charge of battery and criminal mischief and criminal recklessness. And he was in jail for 45 days. Want to know why?
Tell me why.
He took a baseball bat to the ex-boyfriend of Rebecca's car while he was in it. Yeah. So he took a baseball bat into the car. And so that was 5 months before. So that
got him 45 days.
That's what I thought too. I was like, 45 days? Like,
seems excessive.
I mean, I guess he really must have done some damage to that car.
45
and
days.
It didn't say, it says for battery, so I'm assuming criminal recklessness and criminal mischief would be like damage to the car maybe, and battery would be to the person. I don't know. Anyway, he was in jail for 45 days because of Rebecca's ex-boyfriend. So I'm thinking like there's got to be some drama there.
Some spice there.
There was something was heated, and I never found in all of the research that I went like why or what happened. I did find, though, police did question the ex-boyfriend. They questioned him, and he had an alibi. He was at a friend's house the night of the murder, and his friend corroborated that story. However,
I was going to say,
I know my friends.
Yeah. I got a list of like 10 people that I'm at their house at any time.
I was going to say I would be at their house too. So, and that was one of the things that I read, that they didn't really look into that much more. They just were like, oh, okay, he was there. His friend said he was there.
Interesting.
This ex-boyfriend is deceased now. He died.
Oof.
So that's pretty much the end of that story. But that's to me, a very likely scenario, I guess. My only thing with that, I don't know. My only thing with that, so there was no evidence of sexual assault to Rebecca because of the fire. It covered that up if there was any. And Steven was gone, like disappeared. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess depending how much he liked that car, I don't know why he would leave one and not the other. But I mean, to me, that seems, man, lovers quarrel. That's a big thing in any
top of mind to me, two things coming to mind. Like the idea of running away. First of all, running away is real expensive.
Yeah, and hard to do.
If you want to start a new life somewhere, like that takes planning, and it's hard not to leave evidence of that planning, and it takes money. And one paycheck being cashed is not enough to start a new
leaving
life.
your tools.
Leaving your tools, your livelihood, leaving your boots.
Not talking to any of your family who you're close with.
Like I unless he was just like
that one did not seem possible to me.
I'm ruling running out.
That's what I said. That does not seem possible to me.
Unless he's like top 1% mastermind. He didn't run away.
But the thing with being missing is that is always a possibility.
Right.
You cannot rule that out.
Right. I'm willing to bet the odds that he's not a 1% mastermind. But like, and then the other thing is,
if he did run away too, how would he have gotten? He would have had to walk.
It sounds like he was with a friend too, the same day. I don't know. I'm just saying.
That's the friend picked him up. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know, not speculating there. The other thing I would say that's really weird to me is like, it sounds like a pretty passionate murder. If you're going to kill somebody and then light them on fire, like there's
Right.
some passion there, which makes you want to say like, yeah, you know, lovers quarrel possibility, but why do that to her and take him? Like if it was
Exactly.
the boyfriend,
Exactly.
why do that to him and then take the boyfriend?
Yeah, just when you
So
just kill them both.
I'm guessing you got some more spicy rumors for me.
I do. I have
Okay.
I have a lot
All right,
of
let's hear
heated,
it.
lot of heated stuff going on in this town,
All right.
Washington. Listen up. If you're a small business owner like myself, you understand the value of time. There is always something to be done, and it's up to you to do it. Your business is your baby, and you rarely can trust others with it. But what if I told you that I had somebody that you can trust, someone that can save you time and help your business grow? I do. With Bo Digital, you have access to an entire team that will be there for you with marketing and advertising. It doesn't matter what the size of your budget or your business is. Bo can help you take the stress of marketing off your plate and free up your time to do more of the things you love to do with your business. Bo is a marketing company and a business partner, but my favorite thing about them is that they have become true friends. You can find out more about them and what they offer at bodigital.com. Take it from me and put a bow on it. So there is a lot of talk about this, like drugs, which
Okay.
I feel like drugs could be related back to anything. It's always drugs in a small town. Big town doesn't really matter. So this pizza shop that Rebecca worked at, it was rumored, and it was a pretty strong rumor, that they were like, it was like a popular drug spot, trading drugs out the back door where you could drop drugs, buy drugs, stuff like that. A lot of people say this is a pretty simple case. She saw something. She saw something she wasn't supposed to see. They followed her home. They went home. And like I said, it was a small town. It wasn't that hard to find out where she lived. And they decided they killed her. Again, why did they take the boyfriend? Would have just been probably collateral damage.
Sure.
In case she told the boyfriend, or obviously he was home. So I don't know. I mean, that seems pretty plausible to me, but
I mean, like, if you're burning the house, you're trying to eliminate evidence. Like, why not leave him there, kill him there, and tear that evidence up too?
exactly. Well, I don't know about that
I'm
one.
out.
You're out on that one? Okay.
I'm out.
Okay. So another theory is that, and also the other thing is, like, you don't know who the target was.
Sure.
Like, did they want to take Steven? Which to me, to take somebody, that means he was the target and they just killed her and burnt her to cover evidence. But some people believe that she was the target and they burnt her to cover the evidence and then they just took him. But again, that doesn't really make sense to me.
I feel like he had to be the target.
Right.
The easiest way to get to me would be to hurt you, you know, and
Yeah.
but then if I have information that you need,
Yeah.
then you would take me.
Yeah, that's true. So one of the biggest rumors, again, this is another one, was that Steven was asleep on the couch, and Rebecca was the target. They said that they, being the people that I talked to, there was a rumor in town around that time that there was this group of guys that were sexually assaulting and raping women, and so they think that she was the target. They went in, they raped her, and they took Steven. This right here, to me, that's one of my things too. Like, I would say it has to be more than one person.
I mean, to kill one person and take another grown man,
Exactly.
Like, got to be more than one person.
Right. Yeah. So I'm thinking, like, if Rebecca was asleep upstairs.
I just feel like I'm dying before somebody takes me in that situation.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I think it definitely probably had to be more than one person, which fits with this theory that there was a group of men that were raping women. And
Which means there's more than one person out there that can give us some answers.
And I looked into that, and nobody had came forward. I did talk to one guy that said that a lot of people a lot of people in town had said they were too scared to talk.
I mean, somebody just got killed and burned in their house. I'd be a little scared too.
Yeah.
But you know what? That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like, talk now.
Yeah.
Talk. If you have family in Washington, Indiana, that was there when all this happened, like, let's see what they have to say now.
Talk to him. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's no reason to be scared now.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
So there was, I will say too, something else that happened. Another girl I talked to on Facebook, she was spending the night at her friend's house, a couple houses down, like in the same area as Steven Hendricks' house. And they were sleeping in a tent in the backyard that night. She was 13. And she said they woke up to the sound of a loud, like, truck speeding away. And it woke both her and her friend up. And when they woke up, they smelled smoke. And when they came out of their tent, they saw the house was on fire. And then the crowd had started gathering at the fire. And so her and multiple other neighbors heard a vehicle speeding away, like right around the same time this fire broke out. So that plays into, that gives you a little bit more to the theory of somebody took him.
Yeah.
And was getting out of there quick.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of those. I know. Okay, so this is the last one, and this one's pretty good too. This creeps me out. Okay, so there was 2 other suspects. There were 2 guys from Indianapolis who were hired to do work at the pizza place where Rebecca worked, and they were there that day doing electrical work. The day she was killed. She worked that day too, so she was there. They saw her that day. The bartender that worked there that night said that these 2 guys came, they did their work during the day, and they were having drinks at the bar at the pizza place that night. And they were talking to her, like talking her up at the bar, and they mentioned that they wanted to find some cocaine and that they needed a place to stay for the night, and they asked her if they could stay with her, and obviously, she was like, absolutely not. But so she was like, so she was getting annoyed with them because they would not leave her alone, asking her about drugs and where to stay and flirting with her and all this stuff. And so she finally told them that they could stay with her. And she gave them the wrong address so they would leave her alone. And she told them when she got off work or whatever, she lied to get them away from her, which, go girl, like smart, right? And so they left.
They left before she did?
Yeah, and so they left. And, she's thinking they're going to the wrong side of town because she gave them the wrong address on the other side of town. However, somehow they found out where she lived. And when she got off work that night, she went home, and her brother-in-law, her husband's brother, was living with them, which my brother-in-law is also living with me currently for a couple of months, your brother. If he ever does this, like, he's kicked out for sure. The brother-in-law had let them in the house. So when she got home, these 2 guys from the bar were sitting at her kitchen table. Yikes. Yeah. Absolutely not. And so in the brother-in-law's defense, they obviously knew her from the bar. And so they acted like they knew her or whatever. And they thought they were friends and whatever. And so she gets home and she's like, what the heck? And she kicked him out. She was like, you have to leave. You are not staying here. She's probably also kicked the brother-in-law out too. I probably would have too, but like all 3 of you go.
I was going to say, you haven't mentioned him before this point. He was living under the same roof?
As this lady, yes. As the bartender. And so she kicks these guys out, and she said that the last time that she saw these 2 guys, she kicked them out of her house, and she looked out her window and watched them, probably like to make sure they were leaving. And she said she saw them. They got in their truck that they were in. They both were in the same vehicle, and she saw them like driving away from her house, and she said that they were going in the direction of Oak Grove Road. So not like to it per se. She lived in town, and Steven's house was on the outskirts of town, but she said they were heading like in that direction. No idea if police ever spoke to these guys or if just like heard this from others. But it was said that these guys just spent the rest of the night just like driving around Washington because they didn't really have any place to stay. So she said that she kicked them out, locked the door, and when she looked out the window, they left. They were walking toward Oak Grove Road. And it was in the morning, early morning hours, so it was before the fire started. She didn't see them going to the house. She didn't see, and she couldn't even see the house. It was just the direction of these 2 strange men. The police, there was no information if the police ever found these guys or if anyone spoke to them, but it was rumored that these guys just spent the rest of the night driving around town, just like creeping, I guess. I don't know. And so the police... and
these 2 are official suspects?
No, they were not ever ruled as suspects. The police never found them and were never able to question these 2 men. They did say though that those 2 men from Indy have been since confirmed dead. So if they had anything to do with it, they're dead now. So the ex-boyfriend's dead and these 2 creepy guys are dead.
Interesting.
So all of that was just like a big coincidence, really. These 2 guys worked at the restaurant that Rebecca worked at. The day that she died, they were there, and they had this creepy encounter with the bartender that worked there. The bartender knew Rebecca. They worked together. So just like a really weird coincidence, maybe, but crime of opportunity also. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot. Sheesh. Again, though, why would those 2 take Steven? Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I mean, I was hoping that one of these rumors would be like, yeah, that's the one, I guess that's why it's still an unsolved case, though. I was going to say it's still, yeah. I mean, there's just so many I mean, there's a couple of them. So another one of the rumors, the last rumor was that this was in 2019 actually, and the people that I was talking to online said this was like a rumor from the get-go. But apparently there was like a funeral. So Oak Grove Road goes down; it runs east and west through the center of Washington. On the west end of Oak Grove Road is the Oak Grove Cemetery, and there was a funeral that was going to be held there in the next day or so or whatever. But the grave had already been dug, and so it was rumored, I read online and from all of Google Maps and searching from the house, Steven Hendricks' house, you could see the cemetery. It was very close. And so I guess it was always a rumor through town that whoever killed Rebecca and took Steven put him in that freshly dug grave, and then within the next day or two, they put the casket on top and then buried him. That was a rumor. And so in 2019, apparently the ISP found that to be like a credible enough rumor, and they went and they dug up Oak Grove Cemetery, and they searched it with like cadaver dogs and everything, and they found nothing.
I mean, again, like, if that's a rumor, you got to look into that. So respect to them.
I mean, all of these are rumors,
but the other
but that one was strong enough for them to check.
Why, in that scenario, why kill her and light her on fire and put him in an empty grave?
I have no idea. I mean, fire is like one of the best ways to destroy evidence, I guess. So maybe if she was
like
assaulted,
better than putting in an unmarked grave.
I guess. I don't know. Well, apparently, because 2019 they would have found him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's that. I mean, you have these, you have all of these suspects. You have all these theories and rumors, and I know there's got to be some truth to some of these rumors. Like the drugs.
I mean, something happened. Something sketchy.
Somebody saw something. I mean, you have these two seemingly like really good people.
Yeah, it sucks to have.
One turns up dead, and one has not been seen for 35
like if they
years?
were completely innocent, I hate myself for even like mentioning that as a possibility. That like could have been foul play like on their behalf.
Yeah.
But on the other, I mean, I just don't know. Let me ask you this. This is one thing I've been thinking. Was there any proof that they were together that night? Like, I know you said that he was with his friend and then he went back home, but like, did anybody ever see them together?
Not from what I read, no.
So like,
she was at
could he have gone missing before she did?
Could have, yeah. I mean, Steven's friend left that evening and said Steven was at home and Rebecca was at work and that she was fine. Or he was fine, sorry.
Like, the only thing I can think of is if they like got to him before she got home.
If one person could have killed him and then she walked in the door and killed her. So I guess that's right. That could be one person.
And you said that there was no sexual harassment or anything like that.
Oh, before?
No, I mean like evidence of sexual.
There was no evidence, but they said that the fire
burned.
had. Yeah. They said too. I mean, they said that she was dead, obviously, but they said her lungs were so damaged too. Like there was still a chance she was burned alive. But again, the ISP said since she wasn't tied down, they don't think that happened.
Sure.
I guess she could have been unconscious, maybe.
Yeah.
But there was not enough lung tissue left to determine that. But yeah, I don't think one person could take two people. At least one of if you were trying to control one, the other would run. I don't know. I mean, it's happened before. I'm not going to say it couldn't. But
We're
that's a good
1%,
point.
like in the case, anyways.
That's what I'm saying. So this case, like to me, it's like you can't rule anything out.
No.
It could have been anything.
Yeah.
He could have just disappeared. Not likely, but he could have.
Right.
But still to this day, so his mom and his sisters are still alive and they're still like actively looking for answers for this, and they don't know. No one knows. The rumors, it seemed the biggest rumor was that it was a group of people. Again, though, a group of people like 35 years to stay quiet and nobody slip up for 35 years.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, small town too.
Small towns.
I mean, heavy stuff. If you have any information or if you can think of somebody to ask, you have an uncle that used to live in Washington, Indiana, just see what they think.
Yeah, I mean, what did anybody see that car driving away? Like
right.
If somebody happened to be looking out their window that night or saw a vehicle speeding away or...
All we have right now is a loud truck. If somebody's like, yeah, I saw a loud blue truck, I mean, that's something. That matters. Yeah. That any detail matters.
Yeah. Yeah, so they asked, the Indiana State Police, they still consider this case to be open, and they're asking if anyone has any information on it, anything at all, even like the smallest stupidest thing. If you think it's just stupid and it would never matter, they are asking for it. They said that you can call 1-812-482-1441. That's the Indiana State Police number for Jasper, Indiana. And that is who is in charge of this case. And I hope it gets closed. I hope they don't close it until they have answers.
I mean, that's the goal with every one of these episodes that we're going to make.
Yeah.
Is for it to be something that can be closed, that new information, new questions are asked. And let's find some of these people.
Someone knows.
This podcast is a So.Will.I.Studos production. So will I.